Hafa everybody. Welcome to morning meeting. Thanks for starting your day the KUAM way. The show is where we talk about some of the stories that we're working on, and one of the big issues right off the bat this morning, the legislature called for a press conference at 8 a.m. It actually just started a few minutes ago, and it's to talk about this resolution that, how many senators supported it?
13.
Or signed? 13 out of 15, and so it deals with the military buildup and the live fire training range that's under construction in the Machinau area, I believe.
It's on near
Back road.
North Westfield.
Yeah, back road to Anderson area. And so if you were watching last week, the governor called for a 6-month pause on the construction there, and it's to protect this critically endangered flame tree. I guess it's the last one.
Fire tree.
Fire tree?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Flame tree.
Flame tree.
Understandable, because that's what I thought it was too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the last one, and it's extremely rare. So what the legislature did is they held a press conference, they introduced this resolution, and instead of a 6-month pause, what they're calling for is an indefinite pause. And so it's happening right now, and Chris Barnett is down there. And from what I understand, it also calls for this special investigative committee. And I believe there was only 11 or 12 senators that are present. What else did he say? Let me just read you what the resolution says. It's relative to urging the support of Governor Lourdes Leon Guerrero to call for a pause to clearing, pre-construction data recovery, and construction activities related to the U.S. Department of the Navy's proposed live fire training range complex at Northwest Field, or Tailalo, adjacent to Letexan, in order to ensure the protection of the environment and historic and cultural resources of the northern coastline of Guam. And I was listening to it briefly. Some of the senators are saying, I think it was Will Castro who said that he is in support of the buildup, but he is not in support of the systematic wipeout of our Chamorro identity. So, yeah.
You know, the implications of this go way beyond just preserving that tree.
Yeah.
I would argue that if you put a stop to that firing range, the Marines have no purpose for being here. The Marine Commandant has said that before Congress. The Marines have no purpose for being here if they cannot train.
Yeah, they have
So
to
if you don't have a
weapon.
firing range, which is a critical part of their training, you don't need a base here because they can't come, they won't come.
I'd like to. Well, go ahead and finish.
No, go ahead.
I'd like to add to your argument, and understanding the concern over, when they say cultural resources, that kind of makes me think like, okay, I understand like endemic plants and species. We talk about artifacts, but the one thing that's never brought into the conversation is the actual people who are still living. We're Chamorros today, and we're passing on that heritage, so to speak. We are the main resource, if that. And so when we talk about putting a pause in military, there are a lot of locals, small contractors who are working. There is one main overarching company that is a local company that's working on the construction of it, but they hire a lot of specialist small businesses. So if there's a pause to that, how many of those small businesses are going to go out of business, which are locals? How many jobs are going to be lost for that? So it's not to say one is more important than the other, but it's not being brought into the discussion.
There's implications, yeah. And I'm wondering what, for the senators who are supporting this, and if the governor is supporting this resolution, what really is the end game? Is there, that needs to be, I think, fleshed out a little bit more too, because as I mentioned earlier, I mean, the implications of closing the range are substantial, critical, and that's not to, diminish the importance of that tree. I mean, there is some importance to it.
Yeah,
so I think they've got to come up with some kind of plan to meet the concerns about the tree, but also do we still want a buildup?
Right, just for clarification, Chris is saying that the governor is asking for 6-month pause in construction on limited area around the fire tree. The resolution
And aren't they doing that already?
related to the live fire tree range. Well, I understand, like when they
Because
discover
that's part of the programmatic
programmatic
agreement.
whenever they
Agreement
discover
is that whenever you discover something, that you pause in that particular area, protect it so that the construction workers don't inadvertently damage it.
Right.
Do the studies,
and then you do
extract
your
what
stuff.
they can.
You do your studies and stuff.
And it's interesting that you bring that up, with respect to what they discover as they're developing. And I was just thinking about that this morning on the drive here. Maybe part of the reason why we're discovering so much there is because there's an active effort you look at the rest of the island that's been developed. You know, we look at where, maybe even think about where your home is and like what could have been there before. It's a 4,000-year-old history. We could have built over other villages. You know, anywhere. Look at Tumon's been developed, Hagatni's been developed, right? So again, it's I don't know. There's almost a sense of irony to it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to wrap your mind around the entire issue.
Well, you know, once the resolution is posted online, you know, I'd like to take a look at it, and we'll definitely have more on that story tonight.
That special investigative committee, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That they want to impanel a special
Yeah, I didn't get
investigative-
to hear a lot about it. All I
Yeah.
heard was, I think it was Will who said that, you know, I'm looking forward to the special investigative committee, but that was it. Then I came in here, so I'm not sure what exactly they're going to be doing, and I'm waiting for Chris to tell me and
So
get
what
a
is
copy
its
of it.
purpose, and really at the end of the day, what is its enforcement power? 'Cause
And is the committee going to be balanced, or is it going to be biased to one perspective as far as the
yeah,
investigation?
it'd be interesting to see what that means. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think another, going back to the tree, because it's one thing that I think that the rationale has been so fascinated by, is that they're waiting for the results to come back because this fire tree, this particular species apparently also exists on Luta. So I think they're waiting to see if it's so rare that it triggers, as Chris was reporting on Friday, you know, new environmental regulations or new rules.
Thanks for bringing up the tree, because I actually looked it up on Guampedia just to see like what the historical significance is, and the two main uses were for shade and ironically for timber. So our ancestors actually actively chopped this tree down, and so, you know, fast forward to now, and it's like we're kind of we want to incubate this tree in a way where we want to. It's almost like treated with a sense of reverence, whereas our ancestors were like, we need a bench, cut it down.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a classic case of, you know, and you see it all over the United States as the environment versus, you know, progress, if you will, you know.
But you know, it's not just this tree. They also discovered other ancient artifacts.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, yeah.
On this property,
Yeah.
and so, you know, I understand
Definitely.
how they want to preserve our culture and preserve our history for future generations.
Yeah, it's a very,
so how they find that
it's-
balance.
Yeah, it's a very culturally sensitive issue, I suppose.
Well,
It's unusual that they called a news conference of what, 11 of them today, this morning. That's unusual.
I think because
mean,
maybe they wanted to show that it is important. You know, it's an important issue, so that might be the reason why. So.
sure. Yeah, it's yeah.
So speaking of the environment, I know that tomorrow the Pacific Islands Environment Conference.
Right, yeah, this is all kind of coming together in a weird way. Yeah, so the 30th Pacific Islander Environmental Conference is happening. Guam is the host. I had the pleasure of actually attending it in Saipan the previous year,
okay.
so it's nice to see how things have changed. I wonder if they're going to touch on this issue at all. I mean, I can imagine it would be the elephant in the room in terms of, you know, conference, the environment and culture. So that'll be happening for the next 2 days. Today's the first day of the 3-day conference.
And I know there was a Guam EPA board meeting, I think it was last week, and they were talking about, I think it was like 300, 400 people from all over the place, from all over the world that were actually coming, and they had to cap the registration because it was just filled to capacity. And I think they were still trying to get people to come in, so I can't wait to see your coverage and see who all's going to be there, and of course what they're going to be talking about. So.
yeah, it'd be interesting to get their take on this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna use the restroom. Well, I want to go check out some of the bathrooms at Parks and Recs and see if I want to take the risk of actually using them.
Yeah, we've been getting some pictures, so we'll see, you know, how that all works out, and hopefully they are being maintained, right?
There's some really disturbing video again of that robbery
Oh,
at
yes,
San Jose Market. A couple of
Yeah.
guys, one armed with a machete and
I think
the
we
other
have
with
the
a gun.
video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just wow. It's just, you know,
Yeah, it
every day
happened-
we're seeing some really.
It happened, early Sunday morning?
Yeah, early around
4
4 a.m.
Yeah, 4:30, 4:45, right before 5 o'clock. Like Ness was saying, 2 men came in, one with a machete, one with a handgun, and I can't remember if they had attacked one of the employees. I'm not sure.
I know they were kind of rough with one of the female employees.
Yeah, they wanted her to open the register, so they roughed her up a little bit.
So
We got a couple of comments here. from Doris T. Soriano. She says, I love that we're protecting our environment and cultural concerns. However, what is really pressing is the survival of our coconut palm trees and citrus trees. These are being destroyed throughout the island by invasive species. Are our leaders looking into this matter, or only special interest issues, which is an interesting topic. I didn't mean to take away from
Oh,
the
no.
robbery, because yes, it is
Wow.
disturbing. Why are these people so desperate, and what is that? We tend to just look at them as like these bad individuals, and yes, they did very bad acts, but why are they? I don't want to say forced into it, but why are they using this as a resort to gain income?
Drugs, probably.
Well, yeah, the common,
That's always your thing,
that's
and
the
I agree.
common
Yeah.
theme is drug.
The governor said it in her State of the Island address that drugs is a crisis
Right.
on Guam. But speaking of crime, this Wednesday, I believe, is the next village town hall meeting to talk about safety. It's the Tamuning Community or Senior Center
Yeah.
at 6 o'clock. And as you know, this all started from the Manilao machete attack. And they had the meeting 2 weeks ago, I believe. So this will be the follow-up, and then there'll be another meeting in
Dededo.
Dededo, same time, 6 o'clock next Wednesday. So, anything else, guys? I know we have a lot
It's a
to
lot
do.
going on.
Yeah, a lot
of,
to do today.
uh,
So,
serious issues. Yeah.
right. So make sure to tune in at 6 o'clock. Thanks for watching Morning Meeting. Bye.